Nico, this is Rex. Are you able to get my audio?
Loud and clear, thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. It is Monday, August 12th. We're going to start our Board of Supervisors meeting. I understand the individual that we had scheduled for the pledge is not on. Is that still correct, Melissa?
Chair Grijalva, that is correct.
Okay, so I've recruited Naomi de la Rosa from my office to lead us in the pledge. We're switching.
Chair Grijalva, can we do a roll call?
Oh, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, have a seat. Okay, a roll call vote to establish quorum, please.
Supervisor Christie.
Here.
Supervisor Hines. Supervisor Lee.
Here.
Supervisor Scott.
Here.
Chair Grijalva.
Here.
Let the record show Supervisor Hines is not connected. All other board members are connected. This meeting is being conducted virtually.
Okay, so Naomi de la Rosa from our office is going to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, indivisible, for all.
Gracias, Naomi. Thank you. Okay, so our land acknowledgement is we have Maximo Emiliano Jimenez Lugo recorded a video, and so I believe IT can play that.
Okay. Hello, my name is Maximo Emiliano Jimenez Lugo. I am a first-generation Mexican-American student at Pueblo High School. I'm a rising junior right now. This summer, I had the opportunity to participate and do the KEYS research internship at the U of A, where students, or high school students, are able to partake in research with real labs, real PIs at the University of Arizona. And today, I'm honored I have the privilege to read the land acknowledgement statement. So on behalf of Pima County residents, we honor the tribal nations who have served as caretakers of this land from time immemorial and respectfully acknowledge the ancestral homeland of the Tohono O'odham Nation and the multi-millennial presence of the Pasco Yaqui tribe within Pima County. Consistent with Pima County's commitment to diversity and inclusion, we strive toward building equal partner relationships with Arizona tribal nations. There.
I think you're muted, Chair Grijalva.
Thank you so much. It's been a minute. So we're on to item number 4, which is and thank you to Maximo. Item number 4 is the canvas. And so I'm wondering if we're going to have a presentation or are we just going to vote?
Chair Grijalva.
Yes, Supervisor Scott.
Thank you. I asked Ms. Lesher if Ms. Hargrove could be on the call and give the board and the public an overview of how we get to this point, all the processes that are followed to get the canvas presented to the board for approval.
Thank you. I see her now. I didn't see her before. Administrator Lesher.
Elections Director Hargrove is with you. Or soon to be. There she is. There's Constance. Thank you. And she is prepared to review the canvas. And Supervisor Scott had asked for that overview of sort of how we got from elections to here. And I spoke with Director Hargrove, and she will be addressing that as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, Director Hargrove.
Hoover, members of the board. I am here to present to you the July 30th, 2024 primary election results. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay, perfect. So first, I want to certify that all voting equipment went through logic and accuracy testing prior to any ballots being tabulated. The testing, we had 3 testings. We have an in-house logic and accuracy test. We also have a political party logic and accuracy test where the political party representatives come in, they mark ballots, determine their results, we run their ballots, and then they verify that the results are correct. And the final test that it goes through is the Secretary of State's logic and accuracy test, which was completed on June 28th. The equipment passed all tests with no errors, 100% accuracy in counting the ballots. The recorder sent out, issued 183,037 early ballots, of which the Elections Department received and processed 173,614 ballots. We began processing early ballots the week of July 7th. So as soon as the ballots go out and they start to come back, we can start processing those ballots. So we began tabulating those ballots the week of July 7th with political party representatives present. In each room, we were handling ballots. So there's the ballot processing room where they open the ballots and separate them. There's the tabulation room where the ballots are run through the scanner. And then there is adjudication and write-ins. where that's the final place the ballots go. If for some reason the scanner cannot read the ballots, there's an overvote, some marks that can't be read, it goes through adjudication. Political party representatives were present throughout the process. So moving on to election day. All vote centers open at 6 a.m. They were ready to receive voters, and all vote centers closed at 7 p.m. No vote centers experienced any problems that would have prohibited any voters from casting their ballots on election day. Then when the polls close, on election night, the election boards return their ballots to receiving stations or either to central receiving, which is here in our office. Those ballots are turned in to the boards that represent the ballot boards and all the other boards that we have on election night. They receive the ballots. They check the seals to ensure that the chain of custody was kept from the vote centers to the central counting location. They fill out documentation with chain of custody. They ensure that their ballots in the ballot box and any documentation that is needed for the processors in the tabulation room to tabulate those ballots. So all of that is done. Chain of custody is kept. The ballots are tabulated, and the results are posted on election night. Then the elections department continues to tabulate ballots, the early ballots that are turned in on election night, and any ballots that the recorder has received the weekend before are on election day, and any provisional ballots. So all of those ballots are processed, and at the end of the ballot processing, there is another logic and accuracy test. So there's a post-logic and accuracy test that happens after all ballots are processed, and the political party representatives are there to observe and sign off on that as well. Okay, so during the post-processing period, while we are preparing the documentation for the canvas, I look at the documentation that comes from the vote center. I compare that information to the precinct central, which is the program that we use to run our electronic poll book. So the documentation received the poll workers, the boards, they hand count ballots, they write down information about spoil and provisional ballots. They also write down the information about how many voters actually came into the vote center were checked in. I take that information and I compare that to Precinct Central, which is the actual check-ins of those voters. And any discrepancies that may have appeared on the official ballot report where they count maybe 50 ballots and then we scan 49 ballots. That comparison is done from the official ballot report, from the ballots counted to Precinct Central. So if Precinct Central says that they only checked in 49 voters, then I know that it was a miscount of the ballots. So that comparison is done to verify that those ballots match. However, it could be that they checked in 200 voters and then they had 198 ballots cast, but there is an explanation to explain what happened. Sometimes, and pretty often for this election, the poll workers forgot to change their settings. They checked in voters that were issued a provisional ballot as a regular voter. Those people will show up in the count, total count, check-in count, as regular voters, but we will not have their ballots to count on election night because they're provisional ballots that have to go through a process to the recorder's office. And they will write an explanation, and then I can look in Precinct Central and I can look at the information and verify, yes, this makes sense. This makes sense. We only have 198 ballots because 2 of those ballots are actually in envelopes and we're not counted on election night. And so I go through that process with each vote center, looking at the explanations, determining whether or not they make sense, making a phone call if I need to get someone to explain to me what they think happened on election day, and then move forward. So after doing all of that, I'm confident that the results of the election are accurate, that the co-workers did their job with chain of custody, and the chain of custody, the documents are here, they're filled out, they're complete, they're signed. And so we had 197,226 ballots cast for the July 30th primary election. And I recommend that the board certify the results of the election. And I am happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Director Hargrove. Board members, any questions?
Chair Grijalva.
Supervisor Scott.
Thank you. Director Hargrove, thank you so much for your comprehensive presentation, for the hard work of you and your staff, and also for being with us today. You mentioned that there are 3 logic and accuracy tests that are conducted, one in-house, one that involves representatives from the political parties, and then one that is conducted by the Secretary of State's office. Could you expand on that and tell us what goes into a logic and accuracy test?
Absolutely, Chair Grijalva, Supervisor Scott. So the in-house logic and accuracy test, what we're doing, we are preparing ballots. We actually order the ballots from Runback, and we get ballots that are printed from Runback. We get ballots that are printed from the recorder's office, from their BOD printers, and we print ballots from our BOD printers, and we mark those ballots, and we have a specified result that we're looking for. And we take those ballots and we run them through the scanner to ensure that the scanner is reading them properly. We also test the adjudication portion of that and the write-in portion to ensure that if the scanner is not seeing the ballot correctly and it's putting it into the tray where we need to take another look at it, that it is doing that accurately as well. And then we adjudicate those ballots and add those to the count. We also test the accessible voting equipment, which is the express vote, where we go through checking and passing a ballot for different ballots. So we cast a ballot for each ballot style. And then we take those ballots as well and run those through the scanner to ensure that it is reading those correctly. And so we do that with the in-house. It's a larger test. There are many more ballots that we use than for the political party and for the Secretary of State. And so the in-house test, that's the in-house test. We're testing to ensure that the programming that we did is actually working, that is accurate, and that it will pass any other test that we have to have. The Secretary of State then comes in, tests the express vote, they listen to the audio, they listen to the English and the Spanish, they cast ballots on those machines, and then they incorporate that into the ballots that they bring with them. We have no idea which precincts they're going to test. The ballots they bring with them, and they run those through the machine as well.
So really, the in-house logic and accuracy test is the most extensive of the 3, and it's almost a dress rehearsal for what you're going to do later with the political parties and the Secretary of State.
Yes, so that is accurate, sir, yes.
With regard to securing the ballots, both the mail-in ballots that you get from the recorder's office after they verify signatures and the vote center ballots that come in on election day, can you speak to how those ballots are secured, both types?
Absolutely. So when the ballots are processed, if there are ballots still left for the early board, we call them the early board, those are the individuals that actually open the ballots and separate them. If there are ballots still left to be processed, there is a vault in their room where they lock those ballots up and they're secured in there. Any ballots that they have processed, they put into blue ballot bags with a seal that is documented, and they go into what we call the uncounted vault, awaiting tabulation. So they're sealed in a bag, the count is there, the seal number is there. For election day ballots, when they come into us, of course, we count those election night. Once they are counted and tabulated, there's another seal placed on the actual ballot boxes, and they stay sealed and placed in the vault until we have to do our hand count audit.
Thank you. And then I had just one other question, Chair Grijalva, which is that when we moved from a precinct-based model to a vote center model, and we became the 12th Arizona county to move to a vote center model since that model's been authorized, I think back in 2011. One of the reasons that we did that was to cut down on the number of provisional ballots. We still have an issue, however, with what are known as late earlies, people who get mail ballots but then drop them off at a vote center on election day. I wonder, Director Hargrove, if you could speak to provisional ballots and late earlies in this round and what that might tell you for the general election in November.
Chair Grijalva, Supervisor Scott, yes. So we had 462 provisional ballots cast in vote centers for this election. I will say I'm not sure all of them should have been cast as provisionals, but there were 462. Prior to that, they were in the thousands. And so there is a significant decrease in the number of provisional ballots issued. And some of those provisionals were simply because people wanted a ballot for a different party. No labels had no candidates, so a lot of no-label party individuals asked for a different ballot, issued it as a provisional. Significant decrease in provisional ballots. The late earlies do not seem to be decreasing at all. We had a significant number of late earlies. Let's see if I actually turned in this election. Nothing like the general last year. The general, we had 53,000. I believe it could be somewhere close to that for the general or more for this election. So, let me see if I can find the early ballots turned in. Early ballots dropped off. We had 5,322 ballots on election day dropped off.
All right. And you probably anticipate a higher number in November given the higher participation rate.
I absolutely anticipate that we're going to have at least the number we had, 50,000 in 2022 or more.
Okay.
And,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just to add to that so that you will know, it doesn't affect this canvas, but things will slow down in the general election as far as getting the results in on election night, because those ballots, early ballots, have to be counted by the vote centers on election night. That's the law that's in place.
Thank you, Director Hargrove. Thank you, Chair Grijalva.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to announce that Supervisor Hines joined the meeting at 9:09. Any other questions? Okay, so I do know that we're going to have an opportunity to ask more specific questions about the election at tomorrow's meeting. With that, if there are no other comments, Administrator Lesher, anything else to add? Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and move that we accept the canvas.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second by Supervisor Scott. I do need to do a roll call vote. So I'll go ahead and ask for that, please.
Supervisor Christie?
Yes.
Supervisor Hines?
Yes.
Supervisor Lee?
Yes.
Supervisor Scott?
Yes.
Chair Grijalva?
Yes. Item passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, that was it for our agenda. We'll be here in the boardroom tomorrow at 9 a.m. Melissa, am I missing anything?
Chair Grijalva, no, that's it.
I'm a little out of practice with the Zoom, so, or the virtual, it's a little out of practice there. All right, well, you all enjoy the rest of your Monday, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow at 9. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.